Oh, I've broken it. Flipping hell. Dear Lord. Technical issues. Please hold, boys and girls. Welcome in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Right, let's turn the tunes down just a touch. Oh, dear Lord, have mercy. Let's see if we can get this to work today. I've tried a couple of extra things to try and get some integrated chat shenanigans on the go. It doesn't seem to work. For some reason, nobody wants to allow to connect to YouTube chat at the same time. Don't know why. I might try a service like Restream just to see what happens. And my alerts now not working either. Oh dear. I tell you what, I've had massive technical issues with OBS today. So much so that I'm very tempted to try like a dedicated Restream service. Just push it all through one. We'll see. Because I cannot get this bot tricks to work properly. For some reason, I cannot get it to pull. I heard it, but it was low volume. Oh, that's interesting. That means you might be hearing it, but I might not be. Which is odd. That shouldn't be the case. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's play some games. Let's play some games. Right, let's get the two account. I need to open that account first, so it gets pet priority. Trying to fix something that works, classic mistake. Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem. Social contracts? What's going on here? Social contracts. I think we need social contracts. Right, one thing I do know for sure is that the tunes are too loud. Yeah, I've tried both Botrix and also Restream.io for merging the chat. Both to no success, really. For some reason, I think the problem is that YouTube live streaming is a bit finicky. You can't just like plug in a URL for the stream and it just takes the messages. I think you have to set what they call an event on YouTube, which means I have to like set a time that the stream goes live and then I don't know. It could be too much like hard work. I have made a decision though. I've made a decision that I do not want to have the chat on screen, at least not on this main screen, as I think it detracts far too much. For sort of just chatting type screens, something along the lines of the side by side, you can see, okay, it doesn't need to be quite there or quite as prominent, but we could put this other I don't know, slap it in the middle or something. I don't know. There are ways and means we could do this, but I've yeah. It's not working as I quite want it to, and I'm a stickler for this sort of stuff. So, for today at least, I will resort to having two chat channels on my screen, and I'll just talk to you guys as and when, and I'll figure something out. Like I said, I don't particularly want to merge them into two. This is more for my own benefit, really, more than anything else, but. We'll see. Did we sell anything? More importantly, did we and have we sold some stuff? Is there anything in the mailbox? Let's have a look. Let's have a little looky look. I've also decided that City Skylines is going to be on the back burner. I've seen too many people having issues with performance with City Skylines for me to jump into it day one. If I'm brutally honest, I think I might wait and see if there's any initial patches or any fancy stuff that goes on with it before playing City Skylines. We're getting remarkably close to 10.2 anyway, so it's not the end of the world either way. Let's get the main account up and running. 24-hour stream when 10.2 goes live. That's not me. That's not my jam. 24-hour live stream business is crazy. Actual crazy talk. Completely bonkers crazy.
Hello there.
I'm not getting I'm not getting any of these sound alerts. Okay. I opened OBS this morning and half of it had broken, which was not fun. Which is why I'm thinking that it might be more sensible to just stream and then push it to a redistribution platform like Restream and let it do all the hard work. It might cost me, but I'm at least getting in-game audio. We should at least be getting in-game audio. It worked all right last night. Turned my computer off, turned it back on this morning, and it's all gone horribly wrong. Lesson of the day. Well, yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That really is the lesson. Or just don't turn off PC. Yeah, that's also another good one. I have two PCs. My old PC, which I basically now just run as a media server, doesn't get turned off. It just sits there on. Why I choose to turn my main PC off in the evening, I don't really know. I guess it's the semi-desire to be, you know, to not use electricity unless I have to. Like a forced restart for a Windows update, yeah. It's kind of how it feels. Right, why am I chilling in my Garrison? I don't know why I'm chilling in my Garrison. I think this is just from where we left it yesterday. Let's refill these up. Let's press some daily cooldown buttons, and more importantly, let's get queued for the Headless Horseman. I refuse to not get Arthas today. He has to come to me. It has to be a thing. So let's press all of our buttons. We need Magnificent Hide, daily cooldown. We need the Magnificence of Leather to get us a old recipe. Crafted Dreadful Gladiator, Male Foot Guards of Meditation. If that's not a mouthful enough. We do our Hardened Magnificent Hide daily cooldown for Crafted Malevolent Gladiator Boots of something else. And then our Secrets of Draenor Leatherworking. We need a fair few more of these. 5 more of these, or 4 more of these apparently. In 4 days we'll have done all of those. We can take that off our list. Jewel crafting, I think we still need a few more. Oh! Do we not need any more jewel crafting ones now? Oh, maybe we don't. Okay, unfavorite. No longer do we do that every day. Well, that's easy enough. Nice. 9-minute queue. Have people really it seems that people have really given up with... People have given up with running this. Either it's just too early in the morning, or people have really given up trying to view this, trying to do this. Maybe everybody's got it. This is the problem, right? If you once you've got the main reward you're after, there's not much use for running it. Yoink, candy bucket. That is one thing I do still need. Where's my... How many of these have we got? Tricky treats. We might have to do a tricky treat run, you know. I've got 261 in total, but only about 20 or so on a few characters. 132 on this character. I need them in quantities of 150. So I might need to go on a bit of a world tour. If there's 4 things I need, I can use 4 characters, do a bit of a world tour for tricky treats on 4 characters, grab the last 4 things we need. That starts to make a lot of sense to me. It's a lot of flying about, mind. But we can probably do a world tour of Tricky Treats. Is there a add-on or something that showcases the location of everything? Typical Vulpera UI? How is this typical Vulpera UI? How's that work? How does that work? Handy Notes or Tomcat have got locations for all of them. I tell you what, one thing I probably should do, considering I have it, is check to see if Zygor has anything. Tricky Treats. Hallow's End Treats for Scoops. Tricks and Treats. Tricks and Treats. Okay, it's taking me to a vast quantity of these. I don't know necessarily exactly where. Is it just taking me from one to another, to another, to another, to another? This could be handy. Is Zygor paid for? It is, yeah, meaning that, you know, if I am paying for it, I should use it. Tomcat also opens the bags for you. Ah, very helpful, Kitty. Agreed. Agreed. Very helpful, Kitty. We might do some of this then. We might just follow this path and grab as many as we can. We don't actually need too many more on this dude. Any new updates with the Dracothists and Glow Spores for 10.2? No is the weird answer to that one. You are still going to be chasing Glow Spores. You're still going to be chasing Dracothists, and you're predominantly going to be doing it in exactly the same way you did in patch 10.1. In that regard, no changes, which is slightly odd, but, you know, what are you going to do? There's, it would have been nice if that, well, I say that, there is technically still time, right? It could be one of those things that they just whip in at, like, the last minute. I know we've had, I know it's gone release candidate mode, but, you know, there's such things as, like, encrypted stuff. They are able to hide stuff from PTRs and from data mining nowadays if they want to. Why they would consider that such a thing to hide, though, I don't know. Meaning I'm not particularly hopeful still. The foregone conclusion, as far as I'm concerned, is that, well, yeah, Dracothists are here to stay. Okay, let's see how far Zygor gets me. Can we put our Tricky Treats on our bar or something to make it easier to track how many of them we got? Put them down there. 134. Thanks for the info. Glad you're able to stream here on YouTube as well. I'm trying it out for a few days to see how I get on with it, if it's, you know, of any benefit to people or not. My computer doesn't seem to have too much of a heart attack with me doing it, so... it's not too problematic. It's slightly confubbling, if that's a word. It's not a word, is it? But it's slightly disjointing for people who, you know, pay attention to chat and what's going on with chat. That sometimes I read out messages that they don't see. But ultimately, I think that's fine. I've always, for a long time, had the habit of actually reading out the message as well, rather than just answering something, which I think will help the problem anyway. Okay, this, by the looks of things, is just going to take me around and tell me to pick everything up, which is cool by me. I'll do this passively whilst we wait for queues. If I do this passively whilst waiting for queues, then I should slowly pick up a bunch of tricky treats. And if I can get 150 on 4 characters, then I can buy everything I still need from the event, which I think is the plan. Just let them think that you're hearing voices. I was re-looking at what Twitch have as their, like, because they put something along. I can't remember how it's phrased. Do I even have the page open here? So they put this here, right? Do not use third-party services that combine activity from other platforms or service on your Twitch stream during your simulcast. Now, I think this is not. I think this is just poorly worded, because what I think they don't want you to do is use a service that spams Twitch chat, right? I don't think they don't want like restream.io and then somebody at YouTube and then what somebody at YouTube said. I think that's what they don't want. I don't think they want you using third-party services that are just going to blast spam the actual Twitch chat. But if I use something to combine the two and to display it on screen nicely or something like that, then I don't think they've got any issues, which is something I will consider if I can get something that works well with YouTube. Otherwise, I'll leave all of the chat off the screen completely, and hopefully I will just, people will get used to me answering questions from 2 platforms at once. I wonder if somebody will make a crossed post bot eventually, or if that'll clash with their third-party rule. Well, that's what I think they're mainly trying to, prevent, because they already exist. There's already ones that will. There's already bots that do that, and I think that's kind of what they are trying to prevent. They don't want 50% of the messages to be from a bot in your channel. I think they consider that, even though it's technically merging things, I think that's what they're probably against, which I kind of get. It's going to make the actual native Twitch chat like super spammy then, more than it often already is. Oh, I got blobbed. I expect both Twitch and YouTube will probably flag the bot for spamming and block it pretty fast. Well, this is it. They could always just block it from their end, and then it's a bigger problem for the developers. So yeah, it's a possibility. But outside doing a bunch of tricky treat farming today, I would like to... It's our last day with Sign of the Mist. It's our last day to take advantage of this Pandaria rep bonus. Now, the truth be told is I haven't really taken much advantage of it at all. If I look at my Miss Pandaria reps, I'm still pretty poo-poo. It's a pretty poo-poo situation here. I should have just lore mastered the entire zone, but I've been busy doing other things. Didn't get round to it, unfortunately. Should we do hard mode? We probably should do hard mode. It's the first one of the day, isn't it? Let's stack all of the advantages. I'm not convinced that doing it on hard mode has actually any significant difference. I am not convinced. But, it's not exactly uncomfortable doing hard mode on a hunter, so... I'll tell you what I am sorely missing at the moment is coffee, actually. Maybe during the next queue I'll go make a coffee. I think I'm going to need that. Oh, let's kill this thing. I spent too much time tinkering with OBS and stream settings this morning. Running on 0 caffeine is not smart. Squirt's also up in the Garrison. It's not a super squirt day. Even without super squirt, it's a good day for leveling pets. Any time squirt is up is a good day. Probably not something I'll be doing too much myself, but that's handy to know if you want to level some pets. 8 tricky treats, but no Arthas. Boo. Lies. Looking paranoid about myself. Is this a simulcast? Are there invisible viewers? Maybe I could put like a tiny little like a red dot and a red dot and a purple dot with a number by them, so you guys can at least see who and how many people are watching on each platform. That could be something I could probably figure out. Where's it taking us for this candy bucket? The arse end of nowhere. Ever look. 146. A couple more candy buckets and we'll be up to 150 on this dude. How in the world do we get up here? Is it time for this year's petition to make all mounts instant, to get rid of the mount cast, the mounting timer? It's usually about this time of the year people start complaining because they get the instant cast mounts, the broomstick or the magic broom from this thing. It's usually about this time of the year, isn't it? It's not happened yet, mind, but I, for one, think it's 1.5 seconds wasted every time you press the mount. Is this where we've got game sound right now? Yeah, I thought so. And the complaining will just go away. Well, this is probably why Blizzard have never done it. This is probably why they've never caved, because it is kind of something that comes around every year. How was that? 3? Oh, we are 1 short. We are 1 short. I'd love there to be more petitions about making the Evoker Saw a fully fledged dragon riding, so it doesn't look weird anymore having a dragon on a dragon. Yeah. Dragon on dragon is probably not the best, is it? Saw's a cool ability, though. Well, at least it was. I've not actually leveled an Evoker in Dragonflight, which is... I wonder, is there still a bunch of people that have never bothered leveling an Evoker? Is it going to end up... I mean, they've got to open it up for more classes, right? Or the Drakthir, should I say. They've got to open up Drakthir to more classes. Or Evoker to more stuff, maybe. I don't know, does that work? It's not really a two-way thing, is it? you kind of have one or the other. I imagine they will with 11.0. Yeah, they might use that opportunity to do something. Welcome in, Terry Trader. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Not until I get my Mecha Gnome Druid. Well, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do a Discord ping. One thing I'm going to have to now do if we're going to be streaming on multiple places is automate these Discord pings as well. I'm also at a bit of a conundrum what to do with it due to I set up the Discord so that people can opt in to the Twitch or YouTube roles. Now YouTube was on the basis of that it was just for video content. Maybe I should. If we got enough, that's 151, right? This dude can go back. Go back to Valdrak and log on the next dude now. Can't believe I missed out on Furry Friday. Nearly spat my coffee out Saturday morning as Manthieus yells naked fox do naked things. That was an odd stream. I think I must have been feeling weird that day. Like, up close third person naked fox Firelands action was interesting. Making it feel a little bit like a first person shoot 'em up. Right, let me quickly let the Discords know we are actually live. I mean, people probably figure this shit out nice and quick, but... it's also annoying that I can't easily link to it because the URL is going to change every day. Ugh, that's annoying. Whoa. Magic Rooster promotion on the Taiwanese realms. I mean, they don't count, mind, but... Taiwanese get free cock. My lord. What is the world coming to? I accidentally stumbled... Right, this is a complete side note, right? I accidentally stumbled across a Russian streamer. And he was playing on some... what looked like a completely customized private server that was doing mental things. He had loot boxes and flashy wheels and like all sorts of crazy shit going on. Now I don't particularly ever I've not really ever looked into the private server thing, but oh my god, the stuff that was going on in about 3 seconds of that dude's stream. I clicked on his stream because I was looking for UI inspiration. Not because I was paying any attention to what was going on, but it was like some random ass Russian private server for WoW that looked crazy. Ascension, perhaps? I've no idea. I've never paid any attention to this sort of stuff, but he had like special menus and all sorts of, like, I don't know. It was all in Russian for starters, so I didn't know what it was. It was just flashing lights in colourful all over the place. It was wild. But it was like they'd made like a brand new island and a brand new city. Like, it wasn't just a custom server, you know, it wasn't just a private server. It was like actually heavily customized. It was madness. Whilst this is queuing, I'm going to grab myself a coffee, because if I don't get some caffeine in me, this stream isn't going to work very well. Let's. People make a lot of noise if the queue pops. And I will run. Ah, shit, the bed. Loud noises. Loud noises. I forgot I queued up as tank. Appreciate the loud noises. I took a sneaky peek back at my screen just to check what was going on. This is why I need wireless headphones. Right. Arthas, let's go. Give me the goddamn pet. A pet should not be that difficult to get your hands on, should it really? Considering I must have had that sinister squashling thing about 10 million times over the years. I don't know why I always tank him over here. I tank him over there because that's where he lands, but it's really inconvenient to tank him there. Basically guaranteed the Q pop if you leave your computer. Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to beat the Q boss. Threaten to leave your key to go AFK for 2 minutes. Boom. Right, Arthas, do it for me. Do it, do it, do it good. Ah, oh, stupid game. Unbelievable. Now I really need coffee. Unbelievable. I got this far. I opened the bag. That's as far as I got. Okay, we're good. You're running with 4 curses up. Apparently, it gives a better chance. Definitely does on the first run of the day, according to Blizzard. Yeah, I do it on characters where it's convenient to do it on. I run with 4 curses on my hunter, who I do first every day anyway. So I'm not convinced it really makes all of that difference, though. Did I don't think I pressed my daily buttons, did I? I didn't press my daily buttons. Let me press daily buttons before we move on. Another worthless sinister squashling. Yeah, those damn things. Do 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 do. There we go. All the buttons. All the button presses. How are we doing on these? We got 3 of them. We need 37. Okay. So that's going to be a work in progress for sure. Right, the mage. My favourite class. Nothing ever goes wrong on the mage. Nothing at all. It's annoying that you can't inspiration proc items when people select Q5 in the crafting orders. It's yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping they learn from their mistakes, should we say. I really hope they learn from their mistakes with the crafting system. The whole not being able to guarantee Q5 business is something that had knock-on problems, which I think they could have really done better to have alleviated, if I'm honest. The fact that Blizzard kind of have this TikTok approach to developing systems, that they implement a basic version of something in one expansion and then build upon it the next expansion, is great. Although what they also tend to do is then in the 3rd expansion just delete it completely. What I'm interested in is whether this crafting revamp was actually the revamped version. If they consider what they did in Shadowlands with the crafting, they added crafter's marks, which introduced optional reagents to crafts. The slowly upgrading your thing via legendaries, for example, that's a very, very rude. When you look at it that way, Shadowlands was a very rudimentary crafting system compared to what we've got in Dragonflight. This does leave me to wonder, are they going to continue to build on this going into the next expansion, or are they just going to can it all? And it worries me a lot, because I think if they go back to the super duper basic form of crafting that we've had for the past, I think it will disappoint me greatly. I like what we have now. It just needs a few tweaks. There's no denying. It's got to be tweaked. Still no Arthas? Yeah, I swear that pet doesn't exist, Just don't let people fulfill the order unless it's Q5. If it fails and it's Q4 and the crafter nopes out, just reset everything. Yeah, it's difficult. I think the ambiguity of it's a problem. I think they should have narrowed how do I describe this? I think they should have made it so that if you wanted to guarantee something at quality 5, that you're... Okay, let me put it this way. They should have made it so that you should have had to have invested very, very heavily as a crafter to ever be able to make quality 5. There should be a point... That should really have been where the specializations kicked in. So... I feel that this was good. This was okay. But I think the problem ultimately was the fact that you could eventually fill this entire tree. I think what they should have probably done is given you X amount of points that you could obtain, not let you ever fully fill the tree, but implement some sort of heavy scaling, aggressive cost to resetting it. Flipping hell, I was about to go get me coffee. Of course, that pops. Because having it this way means you could fully fill out the entire tree, which is great, right? It levels the playing field once again. But it completely unravels all of the specialization. They're big, you know, on paper, the way they sold it to us, that you could become the specialist on your server. Well, the reality is if, you know, all of your tailors are running around with full spec trees, then nobody's specialist in anything. That I think is the problem with the way they ultimately did it. If they wanted to lean into this, you know, this meta of specialization, that, you know, you choose to be the specialist in something, in making capes. If you choose to become the specialist in making capes, then, well, you know, you can't be the specialist in something else. That would have defined or shared the load a lot more effectively, I think. Now, the issue with that also then becomes is that you kind of need to create a system where people want different things, which is also something that Blizzard aren't really good at. Look at things like the Elemental Lariat. 99% of players wanted the Elemental Lariat. Nobody else was having any of the other necks that were available. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for Blizzard. It's up to them ultimately, but it's just a bit. For me, it's weird. I just wish they'd do what they say they would do. They said they wanted to make a system that allowed people to heavily specialize, and that you would hunt down the specialist blacksmith or the specialist armor crafter on your server, and they ultimately didn't do any of that really, because they made it so that everybody can do exactly the same. Everybody can do everything again, which is the exact opposite of specialization. It was just a kind of a cleverly disguised grind, really. Absolutely balls in this up. Oh, I got hit by that again. Too busy trying to cast things. We all eventually specialised into being the jack of all trades, which defeats the object. Yeah, this is the thing. It kind of completely 100% undoes all of the specialisations if everybody can eventually do everything. You know, that to me is the very opposite of specialization. Damn, still no pet. Never going to happen, is it? Yeah, the add-on's called He Keely. Genie got it right. The one that gives me this sort of rotation priority buttons or whatever you want to call it. Manthieus top DPS as a mage. Oh god, that was a shit group. What a terrible group that must have been. I should probably go do my actual tailoring cooldowns, but I can't be bothered. Let's do next dude. And I want this pet. It takes 5 recrafts to get Q5 on a profession tool. It's disheartening. I think they should have... I'm still of the... I might paint this out, not literally in paint, but I might put these thoughts into video form at some point. I think there are some things that they could take the design element of the system that we have now and build on this to make things more specialist. One of the initial counteractors to actually allowing people to specialize is that you actually promote 2 different things, right? You either provide, if, let's say, for example, you only had X amount of knowledge points that you could obtain, they can still make it a bit grindy to get them. If you only had X amount of knowledge points to gain and you had to spec in one direction or another, you've got 2 options, or crafters have 2 options. They either make multiple of the same thing, so you just make 3 or 5 alchemists or something, which is a bit gross, or you implement some sort of like respec sort of cost. And how you do that is, you know, the definer. Day 1 of the expansion, literally day 1 of the expansion, we had people absolutely screaming for the ability to respec their spec points. And, you know, we're frequently told that there is no option for respecking, you just need to be careful how you spend them. And ultimately everybody has got to the point where, well, all the trees are full anyway, so any mistakes you made at the beginning are naturally undone by the fact you can just slowly fill the complete tree. Kind of like with the transmutes where people run alt armies to get around the cooldown. Well, yeah, this is it, right? So there are some sort of limitations there, but you could in theory, I am quite sure the technology is there nowadays to limit, let's call them capstone nodes in the spec trees, for example. Let's say once you reach, I don't know, if there is, let's put some maths in here. Oh God, we're doing it, aren't we? Let's say there's 500 total points you can obtain. You know, 1, 2, 3, so on and so on and so on. At 100, you'd gain a capstone point, and then 101, 102, so on and so on. Let's say every 100, you gain that capstone point. So these could be then the ones that you are limited to how many of them that you get. And these would do something like guarantee you quality 5 in that slot. So let's say in total, so you could have like extra nodes at the end here where you could spend your capstone points. And obviously, if you're limited to those, you can still fill out 90% of the tree on a single character if you wish. You could also, in theory, make these capstone nodes. I'm sure Blizzard has the technology now to make them account-wide. So you can only ever get 5 capstone nodes on your entire account as an alchemy, in alchemy. meaning that it doesn't matter if you make 4 alts. You still only have 5. I'm quite sure the technology is there for them to do that, which would instantly counteract the ability for people to just make, well, I'll just make 5 alchemists then. I am kind of half surprised that they didn't do something like that with the Jacothist, to make the cooldown, to make your transmute cooldowns not character bound but account bound, so that you could use the cooldown on whichever alchemist you have. You could have a potion spec alchemist on one character because they use a lot of potions. You could have a vial spec alchemist on another, but your cooldowns would be account wide. Can you imagine the bug fest that could have been account-wide cooldowns? Well, you know, you would hope that if they were to do it, they would make it not buggy. That's the theory, at least. It probably wouldn't work that way, but that would, you know, that would really, really make. If they made cooldowns account-wide, they could start doing it, or if they integrated some account-wide systems to the professions, that's where you could really emphasize specialization. And that, in my opinion, is the only way to do it, is to make some of the accolades of a profession account wide. So there's no way for you to abuse it by having 25 characters. Your blacksmithing, and that would also be probably the first step into the making, you know, a lot more account-wide profession stuff. There's been the argument for a long time of why do we only have 2 profession slots on our characters nowadays. That's a really old school limitation from back in the days, where you might have had 2 characters if you played the game a lot, 3 characters if you played the game hardcore, but you definitely didn't have 15 characters unless you were just mental. Because it took you, you know, 72 hours of play to get a single max level character. I don't see alt armies being too much of an issue, so long as you have sufficient barrier to entry. The reason why the Jacothist transmutes were an issue is because it took 30 minutes on a fresh character to max it to the full benefit. Yeah, that's definitely another way they can do it, for sure. Yeah, being able to, like, to be making it so quick to get the recipe and requiring so little for you to be technically min-maxed on it. Yeah, the barrier to entry was very low for it. There are different ways they could do it, but I think generally they've handled the professions quite poorly, in my opinion, in Dragonflight. They started with a really good get up. Since day one, I've praised these Spectres. I've said that they've very, very well balanced the Spectres. And is also why I don't think they've touched them ever since, because I think they were like, right, these are good now. Well, let's not touch these or we risk breaking something. The Spectres were really well balanced. Inspiration was too powerful, but resourcefulness feels good. Multicraft feels good. I think they got a lot right at the beginning, but how they've handled a few things, the reputation exploits, the cooldown exploits, the bugs and implementation, the flip-flopping of design decisions with crafting orders. You know, they built a really good foundation, and then they just hired cowboy builders to put the house together, and it's just not worked very well. So many issues and exploits that ruin things if you didn't get them early on. Well, yeah, they've wrecked. They've entirely wrecked many many players' gameplay with the amount of bugs and exploits this expansion. Integration with the auction house is a must if they want to take crafting orders forward. Yeah. No. It seems mad that it's not just another tab in the auction house, because that's really all it should actually be. They tried to big up crafting orders way more than they really should have been, is my take. Guaranteed rank 3 exploit. Yeah, that was just a ridiculous one. That in a world where tier 3 weapon enchants were selling for 80k, as soon as people figured out how to guarantee rank 3 crafts and never waste materials on a rank 2, I mean, I can't even begin to think how much gold those people made. Because they were dominating the tier 3 weapon enchant market for a long time with that. A long time. At its peak as well. In the very... When those players were making probably somewhere in the region of about 30 to 40,000 gold for every single rank 3 weapon enchant they sold, because they didn't have the expense to cover of trying to craft and accidentally making a rank 2. Oh god, they were literally printing gold. It was filthy. Do you think the material for the new Aspect Crest will change in the new season or stay like PTR and live servers now? I think the PTR is what's considered release candidate now, so it's very unlikely anything is going to change. It's what you would consider feature rich, and so it's got all of the features and functionalities of how it will go live. Bug fixes they'll fix, but they won't. Features are there. So as it is on the PTR is pretty much what you'll see now. Where is this queue? Right, average wait time 5 minutes. We've been in it for 4 minutes. We're getting there then. Getting there. Biggest disappointment with the professions is they basically haven't been updated. I was expecting additions each patch, as they do with other quote-unquote pillars. They claim professions are now part of it. Almost feels like they don't know what to do with it. I'm convinced, almost convinced, now I've got no proof of this whatsoever, but it makes a lot of sense for me, that the guy that was, or the team of people who were predominantly designed and created the profession system going into this expansion either got put on a completely different task or half of them left. I'm almost convinced of it, because there was some, as far as I'm concerned, there was some very obvious stepping stones that they were going to do with the professions going through the expansion, and they did none of it. And they did, and with the initial flip-flopping of like the design of like work orders and stuff, screams that it was being handled and dealt with by somebody that just didn't design it or build it in the first place and had a completely different idea of what it was meant to be doing and what it was. There's no, what's the right word here? There was no like logical continuation in any way, shape, or form. Like anything that we got was just kind of thrown in, just like shit. We need something. I can't believe that the people that designed and created it for Dragonflight in the first place are the people that are still working on it now. The tree swing cartoon, what the customer wanted, comes to mind. The players didn't even get what they wanted, though. Look how frequently players were like, we want to be able to specify quality in public orders. And they didn't give in on that one. They really didn't give in on that one. What do you think about the hidden crafting skill procs that are so advantageous for some races. Don't you think that's a bit much of an advantage to put into a racial? It didn't affect anywhere near as much stuff as it could have done. So I think the damage was limited there. It was... I don't really think that Blizzard actually even predicted that that was going to be a problem. The hidden skill value, as kind of goblins colloquially titled it, I don't think is necessary, honestly. I kind of know why they added it to the game, but it did have some unforeseen circumstances, like racials pushing you so close that it was basically guaranteed. There was some weird stuff with it. I don't think in the grand scheme of things it was that problematic. It's a level of min-maxing that didn't really affect too many players or professions or crafts for that matter. They were very minimal. Okay, there's a mage showing off here doing 150k DPS. I'll take it because it makes the whole thing go much faster. I'm not even going to bother killing this dude because the boss is dead. Genius. Cheeky arcade mage, happy. Alright, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Arthas. Lich King. Ah. Game's against me. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to buy some stacks of Dracothists? No. No. No, absolutely not. There is far too many alchemists out there already set up churning those things out. Never, ever, ever would I recommend buying and stacking up on a crafted item, because there is an army of people able to, you know, if you push the price up by even 100 gold on Dracothists, those alchemists will push it straight back down again. No, I wouldn't stock up on Dracothists. I mean, this isn't this isn't just a flashback thing. This is more than a flashback thing. Had a healer chamois kill the horseman in 21 seconds. I still don't quite know how. I couldn't hold aggro as a tank. I don't know. It could be some scaling thing. Low level, you know, time walking set sort of build. Yeah, some sort of Twinkie build, I would imagine. I saw you posted on the WoW economy in the worst investment thread and immediately knew what the answer would be. Yeah. Yeah, pretty black and white for me, that one. That's one of my worst investments. The irony is I don't think it was a bad investment based on lack of knowledge or even just guessing wrong. I still hold true. I still stand my ground that my choice in investing in them was still correct. And I think it would have worked very well if there wasn't an exploit allowing people to mass produce Dracothists when there actually shouldn't have been. Each and every alchemist should have only been able to produce about 10 Dracothists in the time since the pattern being available and the raid going live. Which would have inevitably led to a shortage of them. But shenanigans happened, didn't it? Shenanigans happened. And I got fucked. I got bent over good and proper. Oh, see, you queue up as tank and it's nice and quick. I bet it's actually instant if you queue up as a healer. The new plate item that gives you the shield. Yeah, it's a plate helm. It's its effect gives a shield to a couple of players. If you can get the pattern on your blacksmith, I'm sure there'll be some people that'll want it crafted for sure. Your first problem there is getting the pattern though. You will either have to be very lucky to get it to drop in the raid and for you to then be assigned it, or you'll probably have to pay out the nose for it. It's not one that I would spend big bucks on. If you're going to spend big bucks on any of the new patterns, I would probably pick the new embellishments, because those are then sellable on the region-wide auction house, so you've got far more chance to make your money back. It's still not going to be without, some effort, mind, but the chance is there all the same. Let's tank him a little bit more over here.
It is over. Your search is done. Let fate choose now. A righteous.
If I go this entire event without getting this pet, I will cry. More importantly, I really don't want to be doing this every single day. I don't want to be spending an hour a day trying to get a pet. It seems like a massive waste of my time, but I can't leave the event with like one thing outstanding. Oh shit, fear. I wasn't paying any attention there, was I? One day I'll end up in the same group as Manthieus. Oh, you don't want to be in my group. I have bad luck at the moment. I don't know why. I don't know what deity I've pissed off, but I've been cursed with bad luck recently.
Come forth, my minions! Unleash your breath! Choke them with the stench of death!
It's nearly down. Incoming pet. It's gonna happen. I can feel it. I can feel it. Ah, oh, I saw something blue, and it was a stupid magic broom. Stupid, stupid. Did I mention I have a dupe? I already had to vendor. Shush. Shush. Instant ban. And to answer your question, yes, queues are instant on healers. Yeah, I suspect they probably would be. Right, I've got one paladin left that I'm willing to do the event on. And then we'll get to some profession collecting, recipe collection. I should do a recraft, actually. Is it worth doing a recraft today, maybe? Maybe I should just do a recraft. Well, at least we can queue up as tank on this dude. Whoa, 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 whoa. Not random dungeon. Chill out. I wonder if do I still need skinning for the week? You may discover 3 more samples this week. I've not even done my weekly skinning. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I have 30 points to invest in skinning. That is all the points I've ever got with skinning. It's not enough, is it? Skinning doesn't have any bonus quests. Did I pick up my artisan's metal for the week?
Need help?
Clearly.
For the Alliance.
How is this not an insta-queue? 2 minutes. Oh, 2 minutes is not too bad. 2 minutes is not too bad. I haven't checked actually. Whilst we wait for this dungeon to pop, what I haven't checked for a few days is if there's been any. We've not had a new PTR build yet. Now, in theory, we probably shouldn't because it's gone a release candidate, but we might get hotfix information and stuff, and bug fixes. Go on, healer. Press the button. Press the button, healer. He's not going to he press the button. Good job. Good job. Hotfix, we remembered professions exist. Yeah. Oops. We forgot it was meant to be one of the 4 pillars of play nowadays. I mean, for them to claim that they wanted crafting to be one of the 4 pillars of play for endgame was such a lie. Or should I say, they might have had best intentions, but they definitely didn't follow through. I mean, PvP's had more love than professions this expansion, and that's saying something. And PvP is the bastard child of all updates in this game. Are there any updates in 10.2 worth noting? No. This is the point. This isn't even me being sort of like deliberately doomer. No. Dracothists and glow spores are still going to be your primary concern. They have changed a few of the embellishments, meaning there are a handful of new embellishment recipes to pick up. And the only new thing of any note is 1 blacksmithing PvP helm. That's it. There is the typical wave of stuff you would expect every patch. New round of PvP gear. A new contract for the new faction. A new Vantus rune. But there is literally nothing of any what I would consider substance. Which is really quite sad to see. Oh, I've got another magic rune though. I've got the magic broom multiple times on multiple characters. I've got Sinister Squashling multiple times on multiple characters. Boo. Not today, apparently. Hang on, let's log out of here. Crafted gear was best this patch. I mean, this for me, this is clearly by design, right? This is, you could see that this is the direction that they wanted to take things. You could see that they wanted to push more to a effort-based goal-making system in the game. They wanted to clearly get away from this sort of front-load the effort to then. So what I mean by this is, you know, they really are super cautious about not making a Shadowlands Legendary situation again. There They don't want people to be able to gain such a monstrous advantage in the first patch that it carries them. And that sort of timid approach has meant that it overall feels a little bit blander than it probably could have done. Do we know what those material turn-ins are for yet? Yeah, the material turn-ins are predominantly going to give people reputation, which in the first few days and weeks of the new patch is always key for people. You can get up to 500 reputation a week from doing the turn-ins. Additionally, they also offer you some of the new seeds. I think you get access to a gigantic seed from the turn-ins, which are when you plant the seed and you throw a bunch of another currency that you farm in the zone on the seed grows into a plant. You loot the plant, and a gigantic seed has the chance of giving you a mount, one of the new zone mounts. So the turn-ins are going to be very popular at the beginning as people, because there's generic appeal to them. The generic appeal is that, hey, who wouldn't say no to a new shiny mount? And plus the reputation in the early days. So yeah, there's a good chance that people will be doing, every single player will be doing those turn-ins. It will hoover up a lot of the trash from the bottom, which is kind of a good thing. The only problem for me is that you still have to use Awakened quite heavily when building the shipments, of which for me is a problem because crafting is already sort of stricken by the price of Awakened. So yeah, it's another one where they had a good idea. The execution is not perfect still though, or I don't believe it to be. Almost another example of them sort of, you know, the crafting seems to be in the hands of somebody that didn't particularly design the system or isn't particularly focused on it. They're just told that they need to do something in this, you know. You need to design something that causes players to hand something in and to give them a little bit of reputation, and then somebody's just gone and done it. There's not really much thought or love or passion put behind it. Why? There is no chance that Dancing in the Moonlight is considered royalty-free music. No chance. This playlist lies. Just because somebody else is singing it, there is no way this is a royalty-free... Okay. This playlist is lying to me. This is why if you watch on YouTube, you unfortunately don't get to hear the music. Because even when I try and find something that's considered copyright-free, royalty-free, it's clearly not. Somebody will lay claim to that for sure. Okay, we've not had much luck then, unfortunately, with getting flipping Arthas. What it does mean is I probably want to get or put a bit of effort into getting some of the tricky treats. Now, how many have I got on here? 151. 151 means we can pick up something. Let's head over to the Undercity and pick up something. That's Orgrimmar. I guess we go to Orgrimmar first. Do you feel like Dragonflight has been the hardest expansion for being a goal-making content creator? Well, yes and no. Yes, on the basis of the Blizzard has very proactively nuked a lot of the stuff that, you know, I would normally suggest people play with. So, you know, nuking mission tables, nuking callings. Sure, they've jacked up the value of a few world quests here and there. Gathering is like being burnt into the ground because of Awakened. That everything where you use gathered materials also uses Awakened, which means that Awakened ultimately sets the tone of price in that scenario, which is a problem. Where in the world is Undercity Portal? Is there not one? So it's been the more difficult thing for me is from a content creation perspective is I try to it's in the Zeppelin area, isn't it? Yeah, I try to focus more towards sort of the beginner goal maker when it comes to like guides and stuff, and then we can talk theory all day long for the pros and the experts and the long time goblins, but you don't get up to like theory stages until you've kind of mastered the basics, right? The basics should make up most of my content. And now, the basics are so basic. Farm something and hope it's worth something that you can sell. But even like picking up herbalism and mining is a terrible thing to do right now because you're just wasting your time. Which is really sad because it's really sad they've nuked the value of this sort of stuff. I can never remember how you get out of this flipping place. Absolute maze. Can we go this way? Which is really weird because I had the expectations based upon what we saw in the Dragonfly Alpha and the beta that this was going to be like an incredible expansion for content creation because of the extra level of intricacy they added to things. Being able to go through that and showcase that, and then any sort of changes and tweaks that they make to it, you know. But of course, none of that happened. The equation was far more simplistic in past expansions. That, you know, if you want to get, I always had an example of something to suggest to people. If you want to start making some gold and you don't have like much of a setup already for it, start by getting yourself a bit of gold. You need some gold to start, and you would usually do that by going and doing some farming or setting up a few mission tables or, you know, chugging out some callings on your alts, that sort of thing. You'd usually make yourself a little bit of gold relatively quickly, high effort, low difficulty at the beginning, but it was kind of reliable, right? It was reliable. If you do your callings, you get gold. If you set up your mission table, you get materials you could sell. You do gathering, you pick up stuff that somebody else wants. It was kind of a solid but reliable way of getting a small amount of gold. That's what they've taken out of the game completely, which is one of the big problems for me, because that's the first thing you suggest people do. I can't tell you to buy 10 million gold of pets and distribute them across 15 different realms unless you already have 10 million gold. It's a valid way of making gold in the game now, but it's available to like this many people. It doesn't make sense to start suggesting that sort of stuff to people who are just looking to like get the ball rolling, you know. This has been the biggest problem for me and the hardest part. The hardest part is actually sort of finding things that are worthwhile for people to do from the start. Suggesting people go out and farm transmog for hours and hours on end in the hope that they get something is just, in my opinion, it's just terrible advice. That, you know, transmog farming should be something that, you know, the very well established gold makers, people who've already got a few million gold, don't particularly need the gold, just would like to very slowly have a steady supply of it coming in. you know, that sort of approach is great for if you just want to keep things ticking over, but it's certainly not good for getting, you know, for getting going. Now the question is here is, do I buy the bucket of morbid treats based upon the fact I'll never use it, or should I pick up one of the mounts, pets, sorry. Little Wickerman, 150, bind on pickup, horse head and horse tail. These are the 3 I need. I guess I just pick up this one. We've done it now. There we go. Where's it gone? Shit, where'd it go? There it is. Boom. Ta-da! Oh, it acts as a campfire. Oh, it is a campfire. Shares a cooldown even with the other campfire style spells. Increases spirit by 1. Well. Allows cooking though. That's cool. Alright, so now I probably need to do a bit of a world tour for Tricky Treats on a couple of alts. Transmog farming's so tedious. Yeah, it's like I said, I would never recommend anybody transmog farm to make gold. If you want to farm transmog to increase your transmog collection, or you're a bit of an all the things junkie, then you go at it. If you're only looking to do it to make gold, I think it's terrible. I mean, you'd be better off pulling a one-armed bandit. You are literally gambling with your time. You at least, if you're going to invest your time into doing something, you at least want it to be something that has a more reliable outcome than just borderline pure gambling. Had hundreds of mogs in the auction house for months, but stopped because nothing sold. Yeah, it's a market that catches a lot of people out. It catches a lot of people out because it has a shiny. It's wrapped up in a nice shiny box. You know, you look at things like you install. You do all the normal things a transmog farmer would do. You do all the normal things. You install TSM, you get loot appraiser, you build yourself a speed set, and then you run off and you start doing farming. And you start seeing these aggressively sized sort of numbers coming up on your screen, and you're like, oh my god, this is worth so much gold. And then you try and sell it, and it's like, oh. 95% of it nobody wants. The other 5% of it isn't really actually worth what TSM claims it to be. Now, if you do it consistently 20 hours a week for 20 weeks, you'll probably make a bunch of gold, but also consider just how much time and effort you'll have put into it at that point. Done everything by the book, still haven't sold anything. Yeah, this is it, yeah. Then it's a case of being in the right place. That if you're not necessarily on a server that just pops with transmog, then it might not even work as well for you. Where's this trying to take me then? Can I not just pick up all of the candy buckets around the Dragon Isles? Surely that's going to be faster, Mr. Zygo. Still taking us through Northrend. Can you pick up the candy buckets every year? Do they reload? There we go. There's the start of the Dragonflight ones. What step is it? 143. Remember 143, boys and girls. They reset every year. Okay, they're like the Midsummer Fires. I get it, okay. Right, I need a track of my... Where have they gone? Oh god, in this mess they could be anywhere. Why can't I... Is that them? Tricky treats. Let's put them down here. 35. We need 150. If everything goes region-wide, how long until all this transmog deflates to its real value? It will take a while. It will still take a while, but it will happen.
Have you and Maratos made contact?
Sorry. I wondered if I'd recognize you.
Scale Commander, the Sundered Flame, they're back.
The Sundered Flame? How?
I do not know. We were scouting the camp at Lonely Falls and were ambushed.
It does.
I mean, when you look at the variancy in prices of these things, depending on realm, they can be wildly different. Like, so wildly different in value. When you normalize the values of every single piece of armor that holds an appearance, yeah, you're looking at shaving probably 80% of the value off nearly every single item on the auction house once it goes region wide, where mogs are concerned, in my opinion. Started posting some of my mogs at the region-wide average instead of what the 300k somebody thinks it's worth on Tarren Mill. Using local pricing data for mogs is also pretty risky business because, oh, hang on, let's use the, where's my, oh, we can probably just use Dragon Riding for this, it's probably faster. I've always advocated using region-wide prices for MOG. And not even, honestly, not even region-wide listing prices, but actually the region-wide sale average is probably a value you should be listing yours closer to. Because that shows, that's more realistic. It's still not fantastic, but it's more realistic in sort of giving a good idea of what this item has actually sold for previously. Now, admittedly, it's still an average, and that average may not be very good because you don't know just quite how many of those items have sold to make that average. An average of 2 numbers isn't really very reliable. An average of 500 numbers is more reliable, if you know what I mean. But it's still better than nothing. I do think we're going fully region-wide soon. I've been almost convinced it was going to happen in Dragonflight. Now, there's still time. A 10.2.5 or a 10.2.7 could drop a fully region-wide auction house on us. I guess that leans more on what we might see in 11.0. If they are building on the current crafting system as we have now, it would also make sense for them to push towards this region-wide thing. If they are going to just nuke the crafting system back to how it was, then they might not go region-wide. You'll be disappointed when everything goes region-wide. People are already complaining that razor margins. Yeah. Well, I mean, just like what people suspected would happen with the materials going region-wide. Prices get pushed down. Opportunity to make gold is slim. But ultimately, I don't think Blizzard really want goblins to be able to do goblin things all that much. They would much rather people have access to buy the thing that they want at a more sort of average price point. This was one of the reasons the consumables went region-wide in the first place. That it was a bit silly how you could have Shadowgast ingots be 50 gold a piece on one server, but 10 gold a piece on another. That made should we say, like a cost of playing the game dramatically different on different realms, right? If you played on a high population, busy server, it would often cost you a lot less to go out raiding and doing Mythic Plus than if you played on a medium to low pop server. Like, if you played on a low pop server, your prices for things were often outrageous. Which, you could argue isn't actually all that fair. That your almost very often random choosing of server when you first pick the game dictates whether it's going to cost you a lot or a little to play the game. Is understandable that they wanted to sort of balance that out a bit. They wanted the new player experience to be sort of uniform, right? If you pick up the game and you start playing and you realize that it's going to take you 50,000 gold a week to buy all of your items you need to go raiding, and your mate who's playing on a different server, it's like 50k, that's mad, it only costs me 10k a week, you're going to be pissed, right? You're quite rightly going to be pissed. Why is it costing me 5 times as much to buy all of these potions and flasks and enchants and gems on this server as it is dude sat next to me playing on a different server? Now that kind of thing is less important when it comes to like collectible stuff, your mogs, your mounts, your pets, this sort of stuff. That's less important, which is probably why they made a big effort to get consumables or commodities region-wide first. That it has obviously balanced the cost of play for everybody. Because everybody's buying the same enchants, everybody's buying the same gems, everybody's, paying the same price for their materials. Within reason, Goblins do goblin things, of course, but I'll flip in.
Interesting.
What will happen to the gold community with a fully region-wide auction house? Like, why put out farming guides for something if you're just arming your competition? It makes it more difficult. I've had a lot of issues with what to stream and what to post because of that exact reason. My best example of this, whilst it not be a perfect example, because it could be due to multiple things, really, but my best example of this is that early in Dragonflight, I'd spent a lot of time figuring out, calculating, like, prospecting rates and ratios and how much I wanted to be buying my ore at and all of this, for example. Now, in past expansions, I had no issues sharing this because the cost of the ore on one person's server and the cost of the gems on one person's server, it could be very different lots of places, right? The chances of me sharing the information backfiring me was very slim. Or small enough that it didn't really matter in my eyes. Now, at the beginning of Dragonflight, I noticed I would spend a day doing some prospecting, and then the next day, the jewel crafting market would be in the bin. Because it would just get flooded with other people doing the same. Or not even flooded. Just look at it. This isn't me going, oh, look, big streamer. No, it's more of the fact that if 5 people end up doing the exact same thing, that is enough nowadays to push everything down. It doesn't need to be a huge wave of people all doing the same thing. But you take like Transmog, something that's historically a slow seller in the first place. You know, you might, of a rare piece of Transmog, you may not necessarily get more than, 2 or 3 sales region-wide per week of any given item. Maybe even less in some cases. So, a couple of people farm the same place. If a couple of people do 50 runs of Alderman, all of a sudden, anything that drops in Alderman, there's 10 times as much of it available. It's going to take a long time for people to buy through that. So it really will nuke the transmog market into the ground heavy. And transmog lives and dies on the fact that it paints this picture of being like 50k, 100k an hour. Who in their right mind is going to run a dungeon farming transmog if they actually only believe they're getting like maybe 5k an hour? All of a sudden people are going to be like, nope, not doing that. Which maybe will leave it in the hands of people like Student and the very dedicated transmog farmers to supply the entire region with their mogs. And maybe they end up making bank because they're willing to do something that nobody else is. But I made an omnipotent and all-powerful orc warrior with a strong orcish name. His name is Steve. I mean, if it works.
You have done good work, but danger still looms. Will you come to the aid of the forces here, champion?
How and where is... Oh, we're going in here.
As a good friend and the loyal supporter I know you are, I call upon your help at this time.
Methinks I need to clean my inventory.
Our goals to be aligned, friend. I would be honored to have
can we maybe do a purge of all of this trash? Oh, the fact you can't sell half of this is also mighty annoying. There's probably huge amounts of stuff I can get rid of in here as well, but 4 plate chess pieces? I don't think I quite need all of those, do I? Oh well. I've seen you get stream sniped when pointing out that Rhymefin Tuna could turn into Darkmoon cards. Second later, they were all gone on both the EU and the US. Yeah. This is another example, right? The second I talk about a material, like boom, it's gone. Like and like I said, it's because everybody plays in the same arena when it comes to the auction house now. This is kind of why I've lent a lot more into, the either top-end crafting stuff or collections and stuff for the purpose of the stream. We'll go around, we'll collect recipes, I'll do a crafting post or whatever. But I do far, far, far less of the sitting at the auction house, buying and selling, sort of price speculation sort of stuff. I do way, 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 way less of that sort of stuff now. It's not that I'm not doing as much of it, I just actively choose to not do it so much on stream. So the content already has had to take a bit of a shift. because of the region-wide auction house. And what you've also seen a lot of other people do is do something and then make a video about what it is they did after the fact, which can be informative, as it is a good case study, I suppose, of what's possible and what's available and what is the potential. And there can be some learnings to be had and some entertainment can be had from that, which is probably the more smart approach to do nowadays. To just, you know, pretty simply decide, right, I'm going to go do something. I'll, you know, it's for me, I like streaming too much to do that though. This is the thing. I want to be playing and I want to be streaming when patches go live, and I want to be talking about things ahead of time and stuff. It's difficult. I'll figure something out eventually. Market manipulate. Oh, I don't think so. I wonder if the auction house is a big part of why they haven't moved to a mega server instead of 4 populated and 200 dead servers. I don't know. I think the server model is a really old model, and a really, really 2006 way of doing things. Look how many other games out there now have, you know, swayed away from this kind of like, they just have big global servers. Everybody plays on them, and there's sharding, and there's, you know, Blizzard were, the weird thing for me is that Blizzard was sort of, I wouldn't say market leaders, but they were very, very proactive in creating a lot of this technology. And the irony is that I don't think they utilize half of it. They've spent years working on like sharding technology and, you know, multi-layered technology, multi-layer servers, and they've spent years figuring all of this stuff out and building it all out and developing it. Yet we still, the very first thing we do when we create a character in this game is we have to pick a server. It seems highly underutilized. There's been no new realm connection since 2020. Yeah, we've had COVID since then, right? Look at it this way. We've had COVID since then. The world is literally a different place since then. It might only be, well, that's 4 years, right? In 4 years, there's been 4 different Call of Duty games in the same time since we've last had any sort of server mergers. Yeah, when you break it down that way, 4 years in the gaming world is forever. In the future, routing traffic to servers will be so optimized that you don't even notice the difference of US and EU. I don't think there's any real issues with it now. I mean, if you're playing an arena and you're doing PvP and it's fast-paced, I get that you need a low ping. To be able to sort of, you know, really min-max that. But realistically, for most content in the game, one big global server, I don't think realistically many people would, you know, notice it. Now, I guess that I've got to remember that I kind of, you know, I'm lucky. I've always had access to super fast internet. I know there's still some places in the world that don't, but a lot of people also do. So it's kind of one of those for me. Why hold back? Why hold back doing something because some people don't have access to it? How about you strive forward and provide an alternative solution for those that, you know, don't have the hardware or the infrastructure yet? It'd be a good incentive for people to upgrade their internet, you know? Optimized routing will not circumvent physics. Light has a fixed speed that it travels at. Yeah, but it's also incredibly fast. As soon as you plug everything through fiber optics, the world becomes very small. What are we up to? 75. We're halfway there on our tricky treats. We'll probably clear most of the Dragon Isles and probably a little bit of past places. Oh, hang on. We've still got one in our bags, apparently. I mean, like I said, I do have to kind of be careful to remember that I live in a country that is actually very technologically advanced in this regard. I mean, you have access to things like fibre in the UK, which, even though Brexit might paint a different picture, is not actually a third world country. Yet your internet infrastructure is still predominantly through copper cable. It might be it might be fibre from a junction box to your house, but it is still copper cable for the most part. The core infrastructure is still last year's technology, even in somewhere like the UK. Whereas in Finland, we actually have a fibre infrastructure now, which is why internet is just getting ludicrously fast. You can't get around the latency of cross-Atlantic limitations, even for general content. I'd say anything above 70 ms is noticeable, and over 100 it's actively frustrating. You can't really fix that. Yeah, for like I said, for faster-paced stuff, it becomes a bit of an issue. But for your, your world content and shit like that, like there is no chance you're really going to really notice that much. Got Arthas and the mount yesterday from one box. Lamau easy game. I mean, that is almost banhammer worthy, right? Congratulations, by the way. Internet access should be a basic human right at this point. Well, yeah. In Finland it is, which is nice. I take full advantage of that. I'm sure at this point you guys can probably tell that I quite enjoy living in Finland. They're a sensible country full of sensible people with above average technology. I'm a happy man. I live in the country and I've got gigabit internet. That, that goes to show, right? Admittedly, if I need a plumber to come to my house, it takes him 3 days still, but that's a different story. You can't have everything. Adressia, how we doing? Welcome in. Sorry, my OBS is playing up today. I'm not getting all the sound alerts, but I read the alert. Thank you very much. Welcome in. Seven days, 13 characters, full curse. That dog has still not appeared. Yeah, I'm starting to believe it's a bit of a myth at the moment. I've not done quite as many characters, but I have been doing it nearly every day. In fact, I think I have been doing it every day. The tricky treats at the moment, because I do still need... There's 3 more things I need from them. I need 3 toys, or 2 toys and a... Where have they gone in my bags? There's a couple of things. I need both ends of the horse. I need the horse head and I need the horse tail. And I need the bucket of morbid treats. So I'm kind of playing... I know the horse costume came in. Did that turn up last year? Or was it the year before? Either way, I'm playing catch up a little bit. But I need 450 in total, so I'm farming a few up from tricky treats on some alts. You wouldn't download a plumber? Downloading is stealing. Remember the old... Yeah, I do remember those. I find it really interesting how piracy has gone full circle. Now, obviously, you'll never completely 100% get rid of piracy, because... pirates go arr. But there was a period in time where the movie industry and the TV industry had almost solved piracy, and it was called Netflix. The gaming industry has always had a bit of a problem with it, but this is partly now fixed by every single game being internet permanently connected, meaning that even pirates can't always do pirate things if they want to play the full game. But anyway, it's interesting to me how it's kind of gone full circle. They'd semi-fixed it by making it cost-effective and a good enough service that people were all of a sudden happy to pay for it. Yeah, I'll pay $10 a month to get all of my movies and, you know, series available to me at the click of a button. It's integrated into the app on my TV. GG. The service was good enough and it was priced well enough that, you know, people were like, yeah, I'll get me some Netflix. And then every single then 25,000 other streaming platforms turned up. And now everybody is like, fuck that business. I'm unsubscribing from all of this and I'm just going to pirate shit again. And now it seems to be that piracy is having another boom again. As everybody unsubscribes from everything. Greed happened, as tradition. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes a monopoly is good. Sometimes Netflix running away with it, being the one-stop shop for all of your film and TV needs, was incredibly good value. But by the time you have Netflix, HBO, Hulu, YouTube Plus, Amazon Video, you know, the list goes on. By the time you've picked up 5 or 6 streaming services, you're back to, you might as well have that €80 a month cable box again. Finally get to watch you during work time. Twitch is blocked by the company policy, but YouTube's not. Oh, well, there we go. Congratulations. Good stuff. Make sure you get your Alt-Tab fingers at the ready. Welcome in. Netflix is going to increase the subscription fee again, as far as I know. I think I already pay nearly $20 a month for Netflix because we've got like some multi-high definition 4K maximum bitrate, 4 satellites, premium connection, something or other. I don't know what it is.
Iskara needs fish.
It's already expensive.
I hear the Korik Gleamlet has a boat able to tackle the river. Hop on and catch us some dinner.
You now have the exclusives, which are a little bit like monopolies. Real competition would mean you get all the shows on all platforms. Talking of monopolies, who's playing Spider-Man at the moment? I don't own a PS5, so no Spider-Man for me, but didn't it sell like 2.5 million copies on its first day? That's wild for a PlayStation exclusive. But it's been, people have said that it's very good. Oh, I've got to empty my bags of all of these flipping wands again. I've contemplated getting a PS5, you know. But there's something at the back of my brain that tells me that the second I buy a PS5, Microsoft will do some integration with Game Pass and all Blizzard games, and I'll be like, damn, I picked wrong again. But I don't want an Xbox. I've always been a PlayStation guy. I don't know why. I've been Team Sony forever. Do I have time for PS5? Well, not particularly, but it'd be cool to, you know, stream some PS5 stuff occasionally. I didn't buy the fancy TV to never use it. This is the thing. Like, I watched the UFC at the weekend and maybe a couple of Netflix shows. That's it. It's really underutilized. PC Master Race, yeah. Yeah, see, this is it. I also know that if I was to spend $500 on getting a PS5, I could, in theory, put that $500 towards a new graphics card and get so much more value out of it. But, you know. I mean, it's stupid, right? I have a PS5 controller. I just don't have the console. I bought a PS5 controller so I could use it with Steam. Little did I know before buying it that it works, but it's jank. I would have been much better off buying an Xbox controller. But I bought the PS5 controller because I've had this kind of like half desire to buy a PS5. So I was like, well, why buy an Xbox controller if I have no intention of ever buying an Xbox? I got a PS5 to play Final Fantasy, was that 16, and then just returned it. Oh dear. Just steal a PS5? I don't think I can talk about that stuff on stream. And more importantly, that's bad. Get a boat, go raid a cargo ship, pirate PS5s. I don't think that's quite how it works. Oh, we broke 100. We're at 101 tricky treats now. 50 to go. That TV could be running Spider-Man right now. Yeah, it could. Do you think bringing ABK under Microsoft umbrella will benefit Blizzard at all? I don't know what they're going to do with it, to be honest. I put some theories out there on Twitter a little while ago. Testing the water with the theory mill. It'd wake up the doggo, though. Oh, she sleeps through anything. Dog sleeps through earthquakes. She wouldn't mind. I think BlizzCon's going to be... I mean, I'm putting a lot of weight on BlizzCon telling us a lot of stuff, but I really do think that BlizzCon is going to shed some light on this merger. I mean, they can't not talk about it, right? There is no possible... Even if they don't say much of anything, even if it's completely PR mumbo-jumbo, the reality is you can't, your company cannot get bought for $69 billion, giggity, and not talk about it at your next major public event, you know? So they're going to do or say something about this acquisition at BlizzCon. The question is if we actually get any information out of it. Or if they've actually got anything planned. I mean, what better time to announce it if you have got something planned, you know? And if you haven't got anything planned, why the flipping hell did they spend nearly $70 billion on it? You don't spend $70 billion and then just leave it alone to do its own thing. You have to justify that spend somehow. And buying it and then just leaving it the fuck alone isn't justification to the shareholders that it was a good purchase. You need to be, okay, we spent shitloads of cash on this. Now this is what we're going to do with it to turn that $70 billion into $170 billion, you know. You got to do something. Phil Spencer was upset about the crafting system, decided to take matters into his own hands. Yeah, maybe you bought too many Dracothis at the beginning of 10.1, yeah. Oh dear, maybe. They should have gone for 69,420 for the price, just for the memes. It did make me giggle that it went for $69 billion in the first place. Of all the numbers. Well, it didn't, did it? It was 68 point something, but, you know, rounding. At least ABK has to appoint a new CEO. That's a start, I guess. Yeah, I wonder if we get any, you know, heads up about this. But Bobby's going to do Bobby things until the end of the year. We know that much. He's already directly reporting to, I believe it's Phil Spencer. I doubt he is then going to take over because that might just be a little bit too much. Oh, hang on, still got a candy bucket. Look, hang on. Maybe we just take a chill here. Let's 105. Backtrack one step. Return to the start of the guide. Yeah, don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting for sure. I have my suspicions that Battle.net will get rebranded. I have my suspicions that Battle.net might get a rebrand. An integration of Game Pass is, in my eyes, inevitable. Game Pass may not mean that much to PC Master Race. But it does mean it has in my opinion, it has a stronger branding because of the console market. And we as PC Master Race have to admit that the console market is bigger than the PC market. So the Xbox PC app is horrible. Yeah, I put this out there on. Well, we spoke about this a bit on stream, and I put this out there on Twitter. When these big corporate companies buy other companies, they're not just buying a profitable business. They're not just buying a business and letting that business continue to do what it will do with the expectation of it rising. What they're often doing is they're buying like infrastructure, they're buying technologies, they're buying more tangible things than just the business. And I think when you look at the PC marketplace, nobody competes with Steam anymore, or nobody has the ability to compete with Steam. Steam pretty much owns the PC marketplace. Anybody that's come along to try and compete with Steam has either failed or is struggling. I think one of the big key advantages for Microsoft, and more importantly Xbox, buying Blizzard Activision King, is the strength of Battle.net. Not as a brand, but as a piece of infrastructure and a ecosystem. That if you have played World of Warcraft, you've probably played Diablo. If you've played Diablo, you've probably played Hearthstone. If you've played Hearthstone, you probably tried Diablo Immortal. You've probably played Call of Duty, right? The crossover between the console market and the PC market is done predominantly with Call of Duty. But like, I think Battle.net has one of the only ecosystems that stands on its own feet and has been able to. Steam will still do Steam things, and even Diablo is going over to Steam. But I think as a marketplace for all of the other brands that Microsoft own, bringing them to or integrating them within Battle.net is a strong possibility. And might have been a core reason to why they were willing to pay so much. Now, what actually ultimately happens with all of that, I guess we'll find out. But Console market makes up 52% versus the PC market at 41%. That being said, console market split between Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Yeah. The reason is King. Well, I mean, yeah, King is a cash cow. King is an absolute cash cow. And this is also, you know, they're buying a business, but they're buying technology, right? King know what they're doing when it comes to the mobile market. Admittedly, they feel like a bit of a one-trick pony, but you can't deny Candy Crush just prints money. And I think that in and of itself is worth a big chunk of cash.
Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me?
So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few months. I think it will be interesting times in the next sort of 12, 24 months. See what comes of this purchase. Dirt, my man with a tier 1, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Welcome in. Time flies when life's going on, or something. Yeah, time does fly at the moment. I blinked and realised that shit. It's actually nearly Christmas. When November turns up, that's when I go, oh, okay. As soon as November turns up, you're like, okay, I've got one calendar month before Christmas is like here. More importantly, in most cases, you have like one paycheck in most cases between the start of November and Christmas happening, which you have to remember. The amount of IPs that Microsoft owns now is kind of crazy. Yeah, they do own a lot. They do own an awful lot. Even Netflix is trying to get in on the mobile gaming market. Yeah, I saw that. Netflix, there was games integrating into Netflix, which I thought was interesting. But that's always something that these broadcast networks have tried to do. Those little shitty mini games on your TV, they've always wanted to try that. And I keep thinking that the only reason they must do it is because it must work. And it feels weird to me, but is that just parents putting their kids down in front of the TV with like the kids just playing? I don't know what it is. It must be, right? Christmas stuff's already in the shops, yeah. Yeah, I saw advent calendars out. I saw all the candies and the chocolates and everything. Would it be good to farmers that WoW's in the Game Pass? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? 35 mil deep into prep for 10-2. Ouch. Go big or go home. I had enough of that business, that funny business in 10-1. I'm playing it very chill for 10-2. I have my plan for 10.2. I have my plan. We will see how well I get to execute my plan. I know it's Christmas when I hear Mariah Carey. I bet the pay packet she takes home every January is mental. The amount of streams she must get in December because of Christmas shit. Like, oh my God. It's got to be crazy, right? Why are all of these dudes... Why is there a fight going on here? Why have I got to fight my way out of this? Did somebody grind pirate? I don't know. Maybe I must have done. Did I go to war with the Everlook for Insane? I don't know. I haven't done the Insane title. I must have done something back in the day that's pissed them off. I don't know what it is. New Cities game comes out today. That it does. I've half opted to maybe not play Cities 2 on launch. Unfortunately, as much as I've looked forward to playing it for launch, it seems to me as if it might just be riddled with too many problems at launch. Which is, as far as I'm concerned, a real shame, because I had quite a lot of hype to play Cities. But every single person I've seen talk about the game has said that they're just launching it too early. Now, it depends. Obviously, you've got to remember that City Skylines 1 has had 10 years of updates, mods, DLCs. It's a completely different game to when it launched. But even if you were comparing launch City Skylines to launch compared to launch, you did not need a monster of a PC when the first one came out. You were most definitely able to get more than 20 FPS with a 4090, or the equivalent of. There is still, I think, a lot of optimization that needs to be done. Now, if I'm going to be streaming it as well, I need all the frames I can get my hands on. Now, I know it's a simulation game, and zooming all the way in is probably dumb. That's not really what you're meant to be doing so much. But, yeah, I think we might play it later in the week. I've not decided. Put it this way, I don't particularly feel overly confident spending $50 on a game that I know is semi-broken just because I want to play it. Because that will annoy me greatly. And more importantly, the one thing I did want to do with City Skylines was actually turn it into a bit of a YouTube playthrough, which is going to be yet more problematic if it's buggy and broken, and if I can't record video footage of it properly. I've got a reasonably powerful PC, but I don't know if it's going to be powerful enough. If I can't get solid 60 FPS on high settings, I'm turning it off. That's sort of my look on things. But for me, it's a problem, because if I don't play it right now, 10.2 is close enough that might steal my attention. We've got BlizzCon, we've got Warcraft Rumble release. I wonder how my Rumble channel's doing. That's a really good question. How's my Rumble channel doing? I haven't posted anything on there for a while, but have I stolen a few subs? Oh, 217 subs. Oh, we're not doing too badly then. I do have a Rumble channel as well now, by the way. Which would have been cool to get it 1,000 subs plus and monetized before the game comes out, but probably not. When's BlizzCon? November the 3rd. November the 3rd. There's the Rumble channel if you want to go subscribe. I think I've only put 7 videos out on there, but it's doing all right. BlizzCon predictions. I don't think there's much to predict. It's kind of set in stone what it's kind of a really pretty solid assumption. It's not really predictions, We'll get the new expansion launch announcement. A new expansion announcement, hopefully some sort of indication to whether 10.2 is actually the last major content patch. Put it this way, I would be very surprised if it's not, based on everything that we've seen so far. The chance of a 10.3 is basically non-existent, I think, which leads me to believe that we're likely to get an expansion launch in the summer rather than in the winter, or sort of a July, August launch, more so a November launch, which I think would be quite cool to start seeing some development on the go. If it does plan on coming out that sort of time, it means we should get an alpha like really soon. Rephrased slightly, any new expansion theme predictions? Oh, that I don't care. Like I genuinely don't care. Leak season is always a thing that grabs the attention of people. It doesn't grab my attention at all. I'm sorry, I don't have any opinion on that. I'm really not that fussed. There's all sorts knocking about. I think the guesstimation that we might have some sort of old world revamp and spend a lot of time in the original zones again, I think is quite interesting. Cataclysm 2.0 style. I would be a fan of that side of things, but whether they paint it green or blue or put everybody in pirate suits doesn't make much difference to me. My prediction is that 10.3 will just be some rotated, faded raids with a new lackluster Mythic Plus season. I don't think we're going to have a 10.3 at all. With the speed and the patch cadence that they followed in Dragonflight, to end the expansion with going a year with nothing new would be very odd. Like, if you knew that because you got to remember, Blizzard are ahead of the game, right? There's what's going on internally. We don't know half of it. We don't know a fraction of it. There's no way they'd have pushed so much content at such a rate throughout Dragonflight if they knew or foresaw that they'd go 12 months with basically nothing. Because that has never gone down well. That has never gone down well. Why would they have pushed 10.0.7? Why would they have had a 0.7 patch launching a new zone if they knew that they were likely to go 12 months at the second half of the expansion with nothing? It doesn't make any sense. Even if they had layoffs, it still doesn't make any sense. Maybe they stopped adding new stuff to the professions in order to work on the profession system for next expansion. That is copium. That is take a big deep breath. I would like to believe the same, but I'm slowly but surely turning to a more realistic approach with Blizzard, of that I'll be happy if we get something. Because 10.1 was reasonable. You can't particularly argue with 10.1 particularly. There was a few... 10.1 gave us exactly what we would kind of expect from a 0.1 patch. A little bit of new stuff to keep us busy. You would then kind of expect that the 10... Because you have an expansion launch... Then your 0.1 patch, you don't expect it to be quite so wombo combo, because you've just had it's off the back of an expansion launch, right? 10.1 doesn't need to be big, but then what you kind of hope is that the 10.2 is another big wombo combo to start off arguably the second half of the expansion, and then a 10.3 would start, or a 0.3 would start to wind you down towards the end of the expansion, sort of thing. Now, that clearly isn't happening this time. 10.1 was average, but the problem is 10.2 is also very average, which is why I'm sort of more in the mindset nowadays of if Blizzard give us anything, I'll be happy with it, because I don't have really that high expectations anymore. In case of a world revamp, I would like to have access to the pre-Cata world content in retail again. That is very possible, very plausible. Look what they've been doing with the, you know, we've just had Scarlet Monastery of old, we've had the old Scholar Map. They've done it with instance content because they clearly, you know, have all of the maps and all of the code to do it. I'm sure there's not much stopping them putting an NPC that you can talk to switch the timeline on. I mean, the technology is definitely there. It's whether they just want to put the time and the effort into actually doing it. But I do agree, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Right, 129. We're not far off now. We're on the home stretch of candy buckets, I think. At least for this character. I do technically need to do this twice more. But I'm unlikely to do that on stream. I'll do that whilst chilling this evening. Why not use Tomcat tours? No more quest accepting, clicking when collecting. I already have Zygor. I've paid for Zygor. It's already here. I might as well use the one I've already got. I think there's definitely something going on with the old content with a greater scheme. Otherwise, there would not be so much regular schedule. Something like WoW Forever, where Classic gets integrated or something. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. The only thing that I think is pretty unanimous is that nobody particularly wants Cataclysm Classic, which is leading me to think that you can. We're probably going to see some different play on Classic from now on. This is probably why the rumor mill of like a Classic Plus or a World Revamp 2.0 for retail is so prominent and so many people are thinking that way. Probably because nobody particularly wants Cataclysm Classic. The epitome of Classic has kind of happened now. People have killed the Lich King. That's their journey over, right? Nobody really wants to journey any further with Classic, particularly. People have got their nostalgia kick. People have killed the Lich King again. So many people considered Cataclysm to be the start of the decline that I don't think people want Cataclysm Classic. Which is odd. But, you know, Classic has always been Classic from day one has been something that Blizzard just gives the players predominantly what they want. They clearly realise that, well, if enough people want it, we might as well do it. And actually, since that point, they've also realised that Classic is probably a massive cash cow for them. I would not be surprised if we actually had sub numbers, not even sub numbers, because obviously the same one sub gets you all games. But I would not be surprised if we were to get some data on like the disparity of players, who plays Classic and who plays retail. I think Classic is absolutely dumpstering retail right now. I don't think it's even a competition at this point. I think there's probably a multitude more people playing Classic or variations of Classic than there are playing retail right now. Pays for Zygor doesn't know you can make it auto-accept and complete quests. Oh, I know you can. I just deliberately turn it off for the reason that I always forget to unturn it off when I then go and do content that I don't want it to auto-complete on. That's why I don't turn it on in the first place. Cata Classic will happen, but the people will vote for another vanilla. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think this is going to be a massive BlizzCon. This is going to be a really big, really important BlizzCon, and I think we'll get a good idea of exactly what the landscape's going to look like for the next 12, probably 24 months, this BlizzCon. I think it'd be cool to see WoW Alternate History, where it's old expansions with small lore and mechanical changes in the dungeons and raids. I've thought about that before, but I also then, when I have thought about it, I've also come to the conclusion that I don't think enough people truly care about the story. You have your lore nerds, and you'll always have the lore nerds. But I don't think there's enough of them for Blizzard to if Blizzard were to just redo Wrath again, and they were to do it with a slight plot twist, I think people would be like, well, nah. I don't think people care about the story anywhere near as much. There's a very, very loud vocal minority when it comes to the lore in this game. I don't think the average player really gives a damn. Which is why I don't feel that they'd do something like that. While it's an interesting thought experiment, I don't personally think they'd do something like that. Redesigning Deathwing to be less hentai would probably go a long way. I mean, actually getting to kill Deathwing properly, rather than just poking him in the leg, might also be an interesting twist. Where's this? Where is it? Is it in here? Here it is. 139. A few more. We're nearly there. Nearly there. We poked him, but Thrall blasts him. Yeah, I suppose. Lore for me ended back in BC in Wrath of the Lich King. I just don't think people. For starters, Blizzard have made it remarkably difficult to follow. This has always been a big problem for me. That they don't allow... They're just shit at telling a story. It doesn't matter how good the story is. It could be Shakespeare level storytelling. But, you know, if you tell it... If you tell the story badly, everybody has that mate, right, who tries to tell a joke or a story down the pub, and you're just like, God damn, you just tell me the story. Like they go off on tangents. They you know, they start laughing halfway through. They can't get their words out. You know, there's always those. Everybody's got that friend that is just shit at telling stories. It doesn't matter how good the story is. They just can't tell a good story. Unfortunately, Blizzard is blessed with that curse. That they're just dog shit at telling a story. Initially, it was probably due to the fact that, you know, they weren't really willing to make big, long, intricate cutscenes, and arguably now they're not even particularly keen on making big cutscenes. We get a cutscene and it's like 30 seconds long, right? A game like Final Fantasy has feature-length film quality cutscenes in it to make sure that they really tell the story properly. Admittedly, it's a far more story-driven game. That is also true. But, you know, still, it's kind of like, you're just shit at telling this story, Blizzard. Let somebody... And for me, lack of voice acting everywhere is a big problem. They've got better at it in recent years, but they're still pretty terrible at it. All the side quests, which is what usually gives you the content for the main storyline, the context, sorry, for the main storyline, more frequently than not, is often very, very difficult to follow. They then drip feed you the story week on week with no sort of like chapter recap or anything to refresh your memory of what you did one time the week before. It's just bad storytelling. And with that in mind, I don't think enough people really actually care about the lore. You've got to really try hard to figure out the story in this game. You've really got to focus. You've really got to try hard. You probably need to do it multiple times on characters because it's very difficult to follow. You often have to start looking up or just watch a novel video. You know, you do have other options, but even still, the game itself is terrible at sort of telling the story. You really done those? I must have done. Yeah, I've clearly pissed off the pirates in this game on this dude somehow. The game started as a grotesque parody on D&D and EverQuest. Yeah, but there's irony there because from what I've been led to believe is if you actually pick up the World of Warcraft like books and read the books, they're not bad stories. They're not bad books. I mean, I imagine they're probably not, you know, award-winning, but then at the same time, they're not bad. They're worth a read, sort of thing. But in-game, tragic. I was taught in English to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them to get the story to actually stick. That makes a lot of sense. Explain what's going on, reiterate on what's, you know. Yeah, it's just logical, you know. If you get it in the game right now, you do a quest where it's very easy to accidentally gloss over the run up to the quest. You then run off and kill 4 mobs for some reason. You then go back and you hand in a few random items to another dude that you have no reason to actually read the quest for. You then get shown a cutscene out of the blue with no pre-context other than that quest that you just kind of half ignored a second ago. If you are doing anything other than paying 110% attention, you're going to be left with gaps in the story with WoW. Oh, 145. We're getting there. 5 more. 5 more. Probably 2 more candy buckets if we're lucky. 2 or 3 more candy buckets. I've been rereading Demon Soul. It adds a lot of context to the Night Elf story. I've also found as well that the real lore nerds out there are more frequently stating that Blizzard don't even stick to their own storylines. And this is probably an issue with the development team changing so heavily over the years. That where they try and twist and mold the story in the direction they want to take it, that ends up leaving a lot of like anomalies and just flat out false things. But like I said, I don't follow the story in the game at all. I gave up trying. It's too much like hard work trying to figure out the storyline. I'll play the game and I'll happily play the game if the gameplay is enjoyable. And then I will do things in game that enjoy me, that I enjoy, that provide enjoyment to me. And I will choose not to do the things that don't provide me with any form of enjoyment. Hence why I don't chase gear anymore. I gave up chasing gear a long time ago because I realized that the gameplay loop of that was that every single patch they're going to make you do the same thing again for a new set of gear, and ultimately in world content it just doesn't matter because everything now scales to you. So there's practically no reason to grind gear for a player of my style. If you're trying to kill the biggest and baddest boss and, you know, trying to activate big dick mode, then chasing gear is probably still worth. But I figured out the illusion of gear a while ago. I'm far more content running around, collecting things, crafting things, making some gold, that sort of stuff. That's my jam. That's my jam nowadays. There's only 3 quest chains in 13 years of my WoW experience that really stick with my mind. The classic Rin and Nixia one, Harrison Jones back in Cataclysm, and the Dying Soldier in Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, I find it like I could barely name 3, to be honest. I run a mythic raiding guild, so gear for me is more of a method of progressing raid. Yeah, exactly. Well, this is it, right? If you're, you know, the innate challenge of taking you and a bunch of mates through a dungeon and overcoming the challenges ahead of you, and gear is your ticket to be able to do that in a way. Figuring out how you can get the gear you need to defeat the challenge ahead of you. That is a gameplay loop that I understand. But the second you step outside of the raid, chasing gear is pointless. Like, totally pointless. Is this going to be our last candy bucket? Oh no, we've already done it. We've got 151 tricky treats. I wasn't even counting. Well, I guess we'll take a few bonus ones. Right. In that case then, to Undercity for us to spend our wares. Here. Garrison Hearthstone? The hell? I'll trust you, Zygo. I like that my gear makes it easier to kill things. But does it though? When you actually break it down, outside of a raid, outside of a Mythic Plus dungeon, it actually doesn't. It's a very well painted illusion. After a certain item level, the mob stops scaling. I mean, I guess in that regard, maybe then, but for the most part, it doesn't. Doesn't make much of a difference at all. I have no idea why this is telling me to go where I'm going. This seems like a very loopy-doopy way of doing things. Oh, all of that was to get back to Orgrimmar. Oh, I see. Portal to Silvermoon? Which one's that one? I know why it's taking me where it's taking me. Can I stop being a spider, please? There we go. Go click the orb. Now, should we get the horse butt? Should we get the horse head? Or should we get this year's new appearance? I kind of half want to go toys before appearances. It's kind of a bit of a unwritten rule for me. Crafting recipes first, mounts second, pets third, toys fourth, Mog fifth is kind of my hierarchy for collecting stuff. So in that, for that, it feels like I should be probably picking up one of the toys.
Well met. Safe travels.
I always go most expensive down to least expensive. That also works. That often means when you're willing to do the grind, you get the biggest reward out of it. And soon as you are no longer willing to do the grind, you've only got cheap stuff to get, so it's not as grindy. So I get that one for sure. No, where's the quest giver? Here we go. Yeah, so the bucket of morbid treats as a cosmetic, I think I am less likely to care about. Where collecting the toys is more my jam. I mean, you got to start with the horse head, right? You can't start with the horse butt. Yeah, we'll go with the horse's head. One down. One down. Two down, two to go. Two down, two to go. Just the back end of a horse and a offhand pumpkin is our destiny now. Manthieus. Nobody wants to wake up next to a horse's head. Okay. What might not be a terrible idea is I don't want to just run around picking up tricky treats for the rest of the stream. That's entirely boring. What I could and probably should do is take a little bit of a look for Pandaria blacksmithing. What and who and where and why am I missing shit? Is there anything that requires me to do rep grinds? This is all learned via doing something. Am I at the point where I just every single one of these is either craft the one before it or learn the one or learn it through a daily something or other? What about these haunted stuff? Yeah, these are just potential discovery. Everything here is discovery. What about enchanting? Pandaria enchanting. Let's take full advantage if we can of this well, I say full advantage. Some advantage of this if we need it. I have every recipe from Pandaria on my enchanter. Well, that's a good start. Okay. That means I don't need any reps to buy anything on that dude then. Let's rotate round to the next character. On all the crafted ones, just Spirit of Harmony to buy the recipes. In a lot of cases, yeah. Claxy used to sell you. Claxy would sell you a bunch of recipes as well, but you needed rep to do that. So this is what I'm thinking I might need to do for a couple of the professions. Maybe tailor. I wonder what I've done with tailoring. Or have I got everything from tailoring? I need a drink. Hang on. How bad are the candy buckets as a leveling method? I don't know. Absolutely no idea how much experience the candy buckets give you. You'll probably not great. I can't imagine they'd be great, but at the same time, you know, something's better than nothing if you're going to be doing it anyway. Pandaria. Have I genuinely never picked up the relics of the past from Pandaria? That's funny. Well, there's 5 new recipes for tailoring. That's funny. Royal Satchel is August Celestials Exalted. What do we need to do to get August Celestials at Exalted? Or more importantly, do we have August Celestials at Exalted? We are honoured. Right, what do we need to do to get August Celestials rep up? That's our task at hand. Should we start off by asking Zygor? We should do, really, shouldn't we? August Celestial's reputation. Go. What's it saying? The following quests will only be available the first time you're sent to a new area. They are random, and Sage Lotus Bloom will only have one at a time. If no quest is available, ask her how you can help the August Celestials today. Then click on whichever spirit needs you today. Okay. Is this going to just take me through doing dailies? Is there no, like, questing that I can do prior to this, maybe? That could be easier. Buckets give 4,500 experience at level 60. What does that relate to in, like, percentage of a level? Let me do a quick googly googlies and see if August Celestials does the tabard do anything for you if you put it on? No. Go to the island Pandaria, buy the rep tokens. Is that using time walking tokens? If that's the case, I probably don't have any. I don't do anywhere near enough time walking on these alts to have tokens. Or even on my main, to be honest. The honoured players also get a celestial offering, which gives buffs depending on the nearby temple. Sure, don't care. Reigns of the Thundering August Cloud Serpent. Now, I think I already have this, meaning I must have got August Celestials to Exalted with somebody. So I should get 50% more XP anyway. Sage Lotus Bloom at Shrine of Two Moons. Mr. Pandaria, 5 easy reputations. At Revered, each Quarter Master sells the items, increasing rep gains by 100%, making the stolen insignia worth 2,000 rep. What's a stolen insignia? War God Docker. He drops stolen celestial insignia plus 1,000 rep with the August Celestials. Stolen Claxy, stolen Golden Lotus, and stolen Shadow Pans. Spawn is between 0 to 60 minutes. I spent 2 days on the boat queuing BG's arenas and dungeons and killing in between whenever he spawns to reach all 4 to Exalted. Also on breaks when I would watch something, play other games, use NPC scan to alert me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. $60 to $61 is just less than 200k. So let's call it 5,000 rep per bucket. That's 20 buckets a level. That's not super fast, but it will get you a couple of buckets it will get you a couple of levels at least whilst flying around picking buckets. Right, let's head over there and have a look. Actually, where's me broomstick this time of year? I should take advantage of me broomstick. Oh god, what's it called? I think I favorited it. But I'm at the point where I favorited a lot of pets. What's the broomstick called? Oh, Eve something or other. There we go, that's the one. Thank you. We'll swap out the love rocket for now. Beautiful.
What wisdom do you seek?
Oh god, there's Mog I still need from these and all. Ouch. Jeez Louise, 200 gold apiece. That's a scam.
Spirits bless your path.
What did she say? How can I help August Celestials today? And then click on whichever spirit needs me.
Keep your eyes and
10.2 still using Dracothis and Glow Spores? Yes. Yes. Weirdly, but yes. The siege swells. Where's this then? This is over in Taolong Steps. I sense these are just dailies. We'll get this out of the way if it is a daily. Old mat costs are so ridiculous. Surely the old materials are pretty cheap though nowadays, right? Surely there's not too much that's ridiculously priced. I suppose when you compare them to nearly anything Dragonflight, some of them might be a bit silly. But we figured out why most Dragonflight materials are basically free, though. The strangulation of the awakened market is what's causing nearly every single herb and ore to basically be free, which is quite sad. Because when you actually break it down and you look at it from a crafting perspective, if you are at any point needing to buy herbs or ore, you are also needing to buy awakened or rousing essences. So the price of everything is very, very heavily dictated by the supply of those, not the supply of the materials, which kind of makes herbalists and miners practically unimportant, which is sad. Do I not have tracking for trivial quests on? There we go.
Greetings, wanderer. Jade Serpent.
That's not the one I was expecting, but sure. The siege swells. You have a quest ahead of you, which we'll pick up just in case.
Welcome. There is no hurt. Speak up. White Tiger watch over you.
Okay. This quest is not available. Right. Cause 3 wagons to explode. Okay, we kill things. They should have just had awakened only drop from gathering. What they needed to do was have a few things that didn't use awakened, though. That would have really helped clean out, like... I mean, it's... You know, you could have, like, basic healing potions not need awakened. So that the more... You know, the more basic crafts can chunk through the vast oversupply of materials. That would have really helped things. None of the... What's going on here? Why are we not having... Oh, use your pot of fire on the wagons? I've not seen a wagon. Read the manual, Manthieus. Read the manual. Throw it a war wagon. Is that... Are these things considered war... No, these aren't considered war wagons, are they? Is that these things? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Use you on you. You go boom. You go boom. Right, how many more of these wagons do we need? One more. Here's one. You go boom. You go boom. You go boom. Everybody goes boom. Click loose brick. Throw 10 loose stones at stonemasons. Is that these piles of dirt? No. What the hell is a loose stone? Oh, hello. What's this? All my gatherers are spec'd into perception and the third knowledge tree mastering the elements. Yeah, you're weirdly still going to find more love in not actually gathering the raw materials, which I think is very weird. That your entire focus is on collecting as many elementals as you possibly can. We knew that at the beginning of the expansion we were going to have this weirdness, but I kind of expected it to go away over time. But that would only happen if there is some use for the materials outside of need for the... Where you need herbs, you always need awakened. Where you need ore, you always need awakened. The only slight exception is with the ore, in terms of like blacksmithing and for prospecting. But then even once you've prospected everything, you then only still need the awakened because you to like make the actual gems. So you're still ultimately gate kept by the amount of awakened you can get access to. There should have been a few things to help strip the overflow materials away. Dare I say it? A vendor shuffle, right? This is one thing that Dragonflight is sorely missing. Is like a proper vendor shuffle. Something that people can just chip away at. It gets rid of a whole bunch of the low hanging, you know, materials. As soon as it dips below a certain value, and like vendor materials, vendor shuffles aren't inherently great for the game, but they are very good at stabilizing the low level economy, you know. They create like a floor price that gathering should never really go much below this value, because you can always get 200, 300, 1,000, however many, you know, materials an hour. And then in turn, you know, there's always a fixed rate that you should be able to sell them for as well. And it takes an awful lot to push a material much below a vendor shuffle price, because there'll always be somebody out there willing to just AFK craft and sell things for a semi-fixed value. And I cannot even begin to think the amount of people that literally just paid for game time by doing that back in the day. It has to be like quite high. It just has to be. Talk to Oggo the Elder. Where even is he? Well, you're dead. Where even is this dude? Just skip this step. Oh, that was it. Okay. The only suggestion for August Celestial's rep was to do those dailies, which hasn't particularly got us that far, has it? Too many Awaken come from 2x4 groups, though, in my opinion. Yeah, I would imagine a large percentage of them do come from that, but I don't know. It still feels remarkably out of balance. What else did this say that we could do? What's this fella? Found on the Isle of Giants. often drops stolen celestial insignias. Which would be account bound, right? We'll fly over there. It might be a bit quicker to do this portal business, but probably not by much. Portaling all over the place. Is there any way to check if you are gaining 50% bonus rep? Oh no, I am. It's fine. I've just realised I am. I'm getting the plus 375 bonus. Look for the dinosaur trolls. They're usually sneaking around trolls. They drop the 1k tokens. Yeah, if I can get my hands on a few of these without too much issue, we will do. Maybe let's not try and fly straight over the mountain. Right, that guide was officially useless to me. Yeah, the Zandalari War Scouts. What's the loot table look like? Oh yeah, these drop the stolen insignias as well. And of course, chance at the mount. Maybe we go kill the big dinosaur at the same time. Been a while since I killed him. If you're lucky, you can actually rotate between them in the 4 zones. Do they spawn frequently enough to do that? I seem to remember those being on quite a slow reload. You can also use chromie time to get the water. That's a good shout, actually. It's going to be far less people on the leveling variants, yeah. Right, let's go towards the ship. Wow, I've just realised now that they've removed the fog. And you can actually see. Look how far you can see. You can see all the way over to the Isle of Giants now. You didn't used to be able to do that. That's cool. I'm pretty sure Ondasta is a her. Really? I don't know. I don't pay attention. Lift a leg, have a look. In the animal world, the largest is usually the female. Is it though? I've got dogs. Definitely doesn't work with dogs. I have 2 female dogs. They are definitely not bigger. Maybe that's the exception though. Lions? Male lion's pretty wham. Maybe I'm just picking exceptions here. Oh shit! What? Oh yeah, no mounts. I have a raft. In the time it takes me to find where my raft is, I probably would have got there already. Look at the anglerfish. The female even absorbs the male. Literal mate for life. Sounds ominous. Doesn't sound like a fun day in the office. How do we get up here then? Right, so apparently there's a dude that spawns in here, or around here. Typical, by the time I stroll over here, he's not here. It's common for the insects as well. Yeah, true. Do we think this is something where if you kill everything in sight, you get a speedier chance at success? Oh, I've just thought actually, are those token businesses, are they bind on account? I bet they are, aren't they? Oh, these are bind on account. That ultimately means there's a good chance I've got some somewhere. The question is, I have absolutely no idea where. But it also means I don't need to farm them particularly on the character that I want it on, which is kind of good news as well. It means I can be more proactive. A Zandalari knee biter. Sells well, that pet. Doesn't sell for a lot, but sells well. Does this dude... Question mark, not the Zandalari War Scout. This fella spawns on top of the boat by the looks of things. Yeah, he stands on the thing. So. Somebody else is already out here. Of course you are. Damn you. Damn you. Somebody else out here already farming. No surprise, really, considering it's time walking week for here, so. Time walking badges are bind on account as well. I do not have anywhere near enough time walking badges to spend them on this sort of stuff. I have vastly more use for the time walking badges. The very, very few I have, because I don't particularly do time walking dungeons all that much. On any character. I'm got basically none of them. I've got 800 of them on this character, and apparently I need 47,000 of them already. I'm not flush, not particularly flush with time walking badges, unfortunately. I know that's just this one character, but there's I don't have many on any. Many on anybody. Okay. Well, the likelihood of killing this dude is slim. Maybe we just leave this dude camped here for now. Boys and girls, as it is Tuesday, I might leave it here for now. We are probably going to do a bit of a double stream tomorrow since it's Wednesday. I often do that on a Wednesday since it's reset day and there's usually a lot going on. Actually, before I log out quickly, what is next? What is tomorrow? Time walking who? Wrath time walking. Over in Northrend. We might have stuff to do over in Wrath, that's for sure. almost definitely got stuff to do over in Wrath. So yeah, we might do a bit of a double stream tomorrow. We'll see. The likelihood is there's not really going to be much PTR stuff to talk about, which ultimately means I probably should put some time into making some more constructed content about 10.2 now, knowing that it's pretty much in stone what it's going to look like. My frustration is there's not a lot from a goblin. There's not much content to be made from a goblin perspective about 10.2, since it's mostly exactly what you did in 10.1. And my last little video on the channel, which I know is it's been a while since I put a video out on the channel, but everything I said in that video is still mostly true, and I don't want to just repeat myself for the sake of making a video. I might do something on gathering, actually. Gathering, the fact that nothing is changing is almost news in itself. That if you are out there herbling, if you are out there doing some herbalism, if you are out there doing some mining, you're probably going to go and do exactly the thing you have already been doing, which I suspect is farming the cavern for glow spores. That is exactly what your routine will be in 10.2 as well, by the looks of things. You can get glow spores in the new zone, but the nodes that drop them are far less frequent by what I can tell. So you're actually unlikely to be... The cavern is still weirdly likely to be most optimal when it comes to doing gathering stuff. 10.2 go full completion mode? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Ah, mage friend. Mage friend. Okay. Clearly lots of other people had the same idea with farming this rare, so I will leave it there for now. Fun competing with all the bots down there? Apparently so, yeah. Apparently so. Anyway, boys and girls, I'm going to go get me some food. I'm getting hungry. Thank you all for joining today. This effort to do both YouTube and Twitch streaming at the same time, I think is working okay. There are some teething issues that I definitely would like to resolve, such as, at least from my perspective, getting the chat in order. But I think generally having the VODs be like instantly available on YouTube already is a nice little bonus. Obviously, you won't have the full chat on YouTube, but it works. It works. I think I might continue doing this, as it's overall, I think it's a benefit. Generally, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Later on in the week, if City Skylines launches and it's not a complete shit show, we might play some City Skylines later on in the week. But tomorrow will be focused on Reset Day and all the good fun stuff that comes with that. So thank you all for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will catch you all next time. Peace.